We all understand that gas prices and fuel prices affect the cost of everything. But why is gas so expensive in California? I'll give you a hint. It's not capitalism, it's not price gouging, it's not greedy corporations or oil companies. The Low Carbon Fuel Standard, or LCFS, is multifaceted. It hits gas prices on multiple levels, from its credit system to the cap and trade program, the refineries, and the reformulation of fuel. Let's tackle them one at a time. Unlike most states, California mandates reformulated gasoline to cut smog. It's cleaner but costlier, relying on just 9 refineries. California's reformulated gas has a slightly lower energy content due to oxygenates, which can reduce fuel economy by 1 to 3% compared to non-oxygenated gasoline, which ironically makes you refuel more, boosting emissions. However, the argument is CARB's reformulated gasoline reduces other pollutants like smog-forming compounds or toxins. Some also argue that the 1 to 3% during daily use is negligible and drivers won't feel the change. I'll let you decide that for yourself. So due to the limited supply and limited refinery capacity, combined with the high demand and the cost to make the fuel, the price per gallon increases 50 cents to $1. Now let's talk about the refineries in California that produce this fuel. Since 2008, 6 refineries in California have shut down, reducing the state's capacity to produce gasoline and other fuels. 2 of these, Marathon's Martinez refinery, which closed in 2020, and Phillips 66's Rodeo refinery, have converted to renewable diesel production, meaning they no longer process crude oil for gasoline. The other 4 closures were permanent, driven by factors like regulatory pressures, low profit margins, and demand shifts. As of early 2024, California had 9 refineries producing gasoline, down from 15 in 2008. Furthermore, 2 refineries are slated to close in California in 2026. Phillips 66 Wilmington refinery in Los Angeles, which produces 139,000 barrels per day, is scheduled to cease operations by the end of 2025, citing long-term sustainability challenges and market dynamics. Valero Benicia refinery in the San Francisco area, producing 145,000 barrels per day, is planned to shut down by April 2026, driven by California's strict regulations and high costs. Valero is also evaluating options for its smaller Wilmington refinery, which produces 85,000 barrels per day, which could close, further reducing capacity. These closures will reduce California's refining capacity by 17 to 21%. That's 284,000 to 369,000 barrels per day from its 2024 level of 1.68 million barrels per day.
New tonight, speculation that gas prices in California could possibly soar to more than $8 a gallon. That's if 2 key oil refineries here in California are shut down.
Pay at the pump could soon increase by a lot. University of Southern California professor Michael Michet projects that closing 2 refineries in our state could have consequences.
You have a reduction in supply, relatively stable demand, and more layering on of legislative costs. Price is going to go up.
According to Michet's analysis, if the Phillips 66 refinery in Los Angeles closes by the end of the year and the demand stays steady, gas could jump between $6.04 and $6.43 per gallon. And the potential closure of the Valero refinery in the Bay Area by April 2026, coupled with possible legislative impacts, could send gas prices soaring. Projections indicate a potential jump between $7.34 and $8.43 a gallon by the end of next year.
So collectively, from 2023 to April 2026, we're looking at about a 21% reduction in production. And that's millions of gallons of gasoline a day that we're not producing anymore in the state of California.
The state isn't directly closing these refineries like it does prisons. Rather, companies are shutting them down due to regulatory pressures and low margins, which should also put to bed the myth of these gas and oil companies price gouging. If they were price gouging, they would still keep these refineries open, but instead they're closing them because it's not financially beneficial to stay open.
In the 2 years since the governor signed California's gas price gouging law, the state has avoided severe gasoline price spikes like the historic 2022 spike, saving Californians billions of dollars at the pump. The law established the nation's first state-level independent petroleum watchdog to hold big oil accountable, and the state has more transparency from the industry than ever before. Governor Newsom will keep fighting to protect Californians from price spikes at the pump. Meantime, Senator Jones says there are several possible things that can be done.
Lots of things that the governor can do, CEQA exemptions, other environmental reviews, tax breaks, and working with the federal government on this as well.
Next, the LCFS credit system. This system focuses specifically on reducing the carbon intensity, CI, of transportation fuels by setting declining CI targets. 30% carbon intensity cut by 2030, 90% by 2045, forcing producers to buy expensive credits or switch to biofuels. Fuel producers and importers with fuels above the CI benchmark generate deficits and must buy credits from those producing lower CI fuels to comply. Companies earn credits for every ton of carbon they cut based on life cycle emissions. The state regulates CI targets and credit prices, but LCFS allegedly doesn't generate government revenue. It incentivizes cleaner fuels like renewable diesel, which generate 50% of California's diesel supply in 2023. The cap and trade program covers broader greenhouse gas emissions, not just transportation fuels. It sets a declining cap on total emissions, with companies buying or selling allowances at auctions or secondary markets. Auction revenues fund the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, GGRF. It says 35% of the GGRF fund goes to disadvantaged communities, but we all know that means pet projects, money laundering, and DEI programs. The LCFS credit system is a regulatory policy targeting transportation fuel, CI, with government-set credit prices, while cap and trade is a market-based policy with auction-driven allowance prices. LCFS credits are specific to fuel pathways, while cap and trade allowances cover broader emissions. Fuel suppliers can be subject to both, increasing compliance costs. I mentioned the LCFS credit system and the cap and trade program together because both involve companies and providers spending extra money, which increases fuel costs. LCFS, 50 to 80 cents a gallon. Cap and trade, 13 to 14 cents a gallon. After this deep dive into why California's gas prices are soaring to $5 a gallon and beyond, you now understand why everything feels unaffordable. Skyrocketing fuel costs drive up transportation and energy expenses, inflating the price of food, goods, housing, rent, and utilities. California Governor Gavin Newsom discusses the state's gas prices in a recent statement last year to CNBC.
Not just California doing its California thing. Only way we're going to advance this transition is we've got to get big oil out of the way.
What proof do you have that oil refineries are indeed price gouging in California?
Well, $2.61 more than the national average last year. Inexplicable. They cannot explain it. They always go back, well, it's your gas tax, it's your environmental rulemaking, it's the cap and trade, low carbon fuel standards. Fine, we will grant that California has unique blends, all their talking points. Add it up, stack it up, about $1. What's the delta? Where does that come from? They say, well, it's lack of competition. Well, there you have it. What that means is lack of competition means we can take advantage of you. And that's exactly what they say. And that's exactly what they've been doing.
Governor Newsom asks, where's the double? Where does that come from? What he doesn't mention is that 90% of gas stations are small franchised businesses. The sky-high prices aren't due to greedy owners or greedy oil corporations. Gas stations only make 10 to 15 cent margins per gallon. The double is the high taxes and costs imposed by the state and agencies like the Air Resources Board. Gas stations actually rely on their convenience stores, the drinks, snacks, food, etc., to pay their bills and actually earn a living. I'll let an actual gas station owner who was on the California Insider podcast tell you himself.
You own a couple of gas stations. We want to hear from your perspective.
For us, it's volatile. At any given moment, our margin might be negative a few cents to 50 cents. So every working business day, we get an email about 7 p.m. from the person who sells us our gas. It tells us what the gas is for the next 24 hours. So essentially, we look at the price we're paying for it, the direction the market's going, and what our competitors are selling it for. Those are the major factors that influence what we end up at the pump. Heavily regulated. Just on the fuel side, there are two agencies. There's your agency that regulates everything below the ground. That's usually your county agency. And then there's a multi-county agency that regulates everything above the ground. So below the ground are our storage tanks and our pipes that feed the dispensers. Those have to be tested semi-annually. They're not cheap tests. They're in the thousands of dollars. And then on top of that, we have the above ground tests for the vapor leaks that are also twice a year, that are also additional thousands of dollars, that are unique just to California only. I'll give you an example. A new gas station opened about a mile away from me a couple days ago, and they tried to drop the price to bring in new customers. And the price of gas in my tank is from the old price. I have to adjust to the market and compete. So that will result many times losing money.
Does the price of gas being higher, does it help you guys?
It's a major factor. When the price of gas was $6 a gallon, we were averaging 5 to 10 cent margin, and consumers were cutting back on their consumption. So the cost to get that gas delivered went up double. Our profit shrunk by 75%, and consumers weren't coming to our stations to fill gas. And when they don't come to our stations, they're not coming inside the store to buy the higher ticket items, the items where we make our living on, the milk, the candy, the goods.
So it's better for you guys when the prices are lower.
That is correct.
Like, comment, and share this video, because next I'm going to tackle CARB's electrical vehicle mandates, the Water Resources Board, the California Coastal Commission, unions, and way more. Thanks for watching.